Oh yeah, here it is. I did post it here. So again, here's the meeting, here's the address, Wednesday, 6 p.m., Schaumburg, Illinois. We're gonna be talking about, we're just gonna be going over deals, and networking. So would love to see you in person. I haven't done any live meetings in person, so we'd love to see you there. So let me know if you guys can make it. Today, we're going to talk about how to analyze deals, submitting the wholesale offer, the cash offer. So we need after rehab value, which is ARV. We need the rehab cost. We need to know what our wholesale fee is. We're going to need to double check our offer. And then we're going to need our maximum allowable offer so that we know what price we're going into the deal with, what offer we're making, right? You don't want to lead with your maximum allowable offer. You want to know where it's at though. So this is what we're going to talk about today and go into pretty deep detail on each one, okay? So the wholesale formula, you need to know how to determine after rehab value. So to determine after rehab value, you look at properties that sold. You don't want to look at properties that are active or pending. So you want to look at properties that actually sold, okay? And then at the end of this, we're going to go into look at properties live, and we're going to comp them on like Redfin to show you, okay? So we're looking for solds in the last 3 to 6 months. We're looking for sold properties that are in the same city, same neighborhood. You don't want to go into other cities. If subject property is on the border of another city, you don't want to, have a property in Riverdale and then one in Dalton. These are two different areas. Try to stay in the same neighborhood as well. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And you can do that in Redfin, where you can stay in the same neighborhoods. And you want to stay within a half mile to a 1 mile radius. And I always prefer closer the better. So try to within a half mile. If you don't see any comps, that's when you go out a mile. If you don't see any comps in a mile, then you're going to go out, instead of maybe the last 3 to 6 months, maybe you're going to go 9 months back. So if you can find a comp in that radius, then maybe you're going to go out a mile and a half. So it's just a matter of, the only reason you go out further or you change these rules here is if you don't find any comps that support your value, right? You're looking at similar style houses, meaning you're looking for, brick to brick, frame to frame. We're looking for 1 story to 1 story. You don't ever want to take a 1 story house and then compare it to a 2 story house. Usually a 2 story house is going to sell for a lot more than a 1 story. And in Chicago, same thing, brick houses usually sell for a lot more than frame houses. So we want to use similar style houses and similar square feet. We want to be within a 10 to 15% square foot of subject property. So what that means is if your house is 1,000 square feet, you want to use comps at around 1,100 to 1,150. And I wouldn't go anything over that. I would just look at comps under that number. So if I have a house that's 1,000 square feet, the most I'm looking at is a house with 1,150 square feet and under. I'm not going to use 1,300, 1,500 square feet because it's not comparable anymore, because it's not the same similar size. Okay. So this is how we get after rehab value. Okay, and I'm going to go into Redfin after this, and then we're going to go and look at properties live and just show you how we do it step by step. And the second thing you need is you need to get the repairs. So this is never going to be 100% accurate if you're wholesaling. Of course, if you're a fix and flipper, you're buying it as a landlord, you should always get professional home inspection before you buy the property. You should always get maybe 3-4 different contractor bids on the house before you purchase the property. But what I'm doing here is just giving you a formula for wholesaling, meaning that you're not going to be purchasing the home yourself. You're just looking for a formula to get repairs as a wholesaler. Okay. So $40 a square foot is the cost for a total gut rehab. What this means is total gut rehab, interior and exterior. So that could be it needs a new roof, new windows, new siding, and also the interior needs a total brand new everything as well. And I'm not talking about like adding square footage, just total gut rehab, right? Let's say the outside is in pretty good shape. It doesn't need any work on the outside, very little work on the outside, but the inside is a total gut rehab. It needs brand new everything. We do $30 a square foot. If the house is in pretty good shape, it just needs cosmetics, meaning that maybe it just needs a new kitchen, new baths, paint, flooring, and it doesn't need a gut rehab, doesn't need new mechanicals or anything, then we do $20 a square foot. If the property is already in great condition, maybe it was rehabbed not too long ago, and maybe there's been some tenants in there for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, it maybe need some updating, like just paint and maybe update the floors or put new carpet down for $10 a square foot. And of course, if the property was just recently rehab, we're going to put zero for the rehab. Some things that you need to look at, if property is on a busy street, you want to take 20% off of the ARV. So if property is on a major street, the reason why I do this is because usually homeowners, the end person that's going to buy the home is going to be a homeowner living there with their family, their children. So typically homeowners don't want to live on a busy street, and typically these houses sell for a lot less than the houses selling on the residential streets. So appraisers usually take 20% off or even more. So the time you don't take the 20% off, the only time you would do that is if all the sold comps that you find are also on a busy street, and they're maybe on the same street or nearby, and they're all on same busy streets, right? But if all the comps are on residential side streets, then you would have to take 20%. If the property has maybe the property does not have a basement and all the comps have basements. So you run into properties once in a while. I know in Florida, they don't have any basements at all, so you never have to worry about that. But Chicago, mostly all the properties, majority of the properties, I would say 90% have basements. And if your property does not have a basement, it's like a crawl space or a slab, and all the comps have basements, then at that point we take 20% off of the ARV because there's no basement space. Same thing for train, right next to train tracks, loud noise. Same thing for right next to maybe the highway, loud noise. We'll take 20% off of the ARV. If comps have finished basements, you need to add that in the square footage of repairs. So let's say a property has 1,000 square feet, and the basement also has 1,000 square feet, and it needs a total gut rehab. So it's a total of 2,000 square feet total, because let's say all the comps have finished basements, which is what usually happens in Chicago. So that would be 2,000 square feet times, let's say $30 a square foot. So you have to make sure you're adding the basement square footage into the rehab. If you're just using the square footage above ground, then your number is going to be way off. Okay, so that's important that a lot of people miss is they don't realize that the basement has square feet they need to add into the rehab cost. Okay, so make sure you're adding that. And your rehab will always be based upon the sold comps and their condition. Okay, so of course, if you get 3, 4 sold comparables that all have unfinished basements, then you don't have to finish your basement, right? Because those comps have unfinished basements. So there's no point in adding repair costs for the basement if all the comps have unfinished basements, right? So your rehab is always going to be based upon the sold comps and their condition. So what you want to do is, I'm going to show you how to do that. Look at the sold comps that you find to get the after rehab value, and you're going to look at their condition to see what kind of condition they're in, to see if their basement's finished, see if they have a garage as well. And you're gonna check, and we're gonna see, so you're going to basically base your rehab costs upon the sold comps. So for example, if, let's say all the sold comps need cosmetic rehabs, right? And then your property also needs a cosmetic rehab, it's almost in the same shape as all the highest sold comps that you can find, then you probably don't need it to add any rehab costs in, right? So sometimes that does happen is the property may be a little bit dated. It's in good shape, it's a little bit dated, but all the comps are also dated, and they're also in the same condition as yours. So in that case, you can offer more money if, like if you, rather than taking out that cosmetic rehab cost, you can basically take off the rehab cost. So I'm going to show, we're going to get into some comps live here, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Another thing I didn't add here is a garage. If your property doesn't have a garage and all the comps have garages, then you basically need to build a garage in the back, and that's going to cost you anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 to build a brand new garage. So you want to note that down, that hey, to build a garage cost is anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000. Okay. And I'm not going to get into adding square footage. I'm not going to get into that in this training because that's some more detail. But if you're adding square footage to a property, let's say there's a lot of properties in Chicago, for example, they take their roof off and they add a second level. In that case, that would be about $100 a square foot to add square footage that is not there. So I just want you guys to note that as well. So $100 a square foot. If anyone has any questions too, put them in the comments. Hey, Rob, Anthony, Linda, nice to see you guys. Betsy, what if property has a pool? Good question. If all your comps have pools, so for example, Orlando, right? Let's say you get the 3 or 4 highest comps, all these comps have pools, right? And let's say you find out it costs $20,000 to build a pool, right? And your property doesn't have a pool, you need to factor that $20,000 rehab cost into your rehab budget, okay? But if all the comps don't have pools and you don't have to factor in that cost, okay? We're basing our rehab based upon, we're trying to get it to look like the highest sold comps in the area, okay? So if our comps have pools and you don't have a pool, guess what? You're probably gonna need to add a pool to get it, if you wanna sell it at that price those comps are selling at, right? So just an example deal, let's say so our formula that we use is we take the after rehab value, we take 75% of that number. Today it's a seller's market, so we can go 75%, which is in a buyer's market. When we were in a buyer's market, meaning that like a seller's market means that there's low inventory and a seller can sell a lot higher than normal. A buyer's market is the opposite. There's a high inventory and the sellers can't sell as high as in a seller's market, right? So in a buyer's market, we can change this formula from 70% to 65% of after rehab value. It just depends on what's going on with the market. But today, right now, we're doing 75% of after rehab value because it's the seller's market. So we take the after rehab value times 75%. We subtract out the rehab cost. I showed you how to get rehab cost earlier. I also showed you how to get after rehab value. You minus your wholesale fee. Let's say your wholesale fee minimum is $10,000. And that's going to equal your MOA, your maximum allowable offer. And again, your MOA is your maximum offer. So this is the number that you can't go over. So you don't want to lead with this offer. You want to maybe come in a little lower than that, and then come up come up to this offer, but you can't go past this offer, the maximum allowable offer. So just using the numbers, let's say after rehab value is 100,000, 75% of that, we just 100,000 times 75% times 0.75, we get 75,000. And let's say that we're looking at a property with about 1,000 square feet that needs a cosmetic rehab, and it also has a basement with about 1,000 square feet. So the rehab cost is 2,000 square feet times 20. So we're at a $40,000 rehab cost. So using this formula, 75,000 minus 40,000 rehab, we're at 35,000 now. And then we subtract out our wholesale fee of 10,000. So our maximum allowable offer is 25,000. So this is just an example deal using real numbers. You can use redfin.com. You can also, if you have access to MLS, you can use MLS. If you don't have Redfin in your area, you can use Zillow. Zillow, you can get this data as well. Or again, the MLS if you have access. And for people that have our members that have our CRM, this formula is built into the CRM already, so you don't have to like memorize everything, but the rehab cost, the 75%, that's already built into our CRM. So all we really need to do is get the sold comparables, plug them in, and get the condition and the square footage, and then it comes up with the offer for us, okay? But you always want to double check everything. So after you get this number, your maximum allowable offer, your MOA, you want to go on the market and look at everything active, look at everything pending. Not pending, but look at everything active on the market in that area within about a mile radius. And you want to make sure that when you go and sell this property, so if you're going to get this property under contract for 25,000 and the owner agrees, and you're about to list it, you're trying to make a $10,000 wholesale fee, so you're trying to sell it for 35,000. You want to go look at everything active and available that an investor can buy today on the market, and you want to make sure that you're better than that, everything active. So if you see properties selling for 25,000, 30,000, and they're in the same condition as your property and maybe the same size as well, and you go on and you try to sell it off market as a wholesale deal for 35,000, when the investor can just buy one down the street for 20,000, guess what? You're probably not going to sell the deal because they can just buy one off the market for a cheaper price. So you want to be the best deal available in your market. So always double check, look at everything active, look at everything available to purchase, and make sure that you're when you go and sell this property for 35,000, that you're the best deal available, right? This can also determine that maybe you can sell it for a higher price. So for example, going back to this example deal, let's say we got under contract for 25,000 and we put our $10,000 wholesale fee. So our intent is to sell it for 35,000, but we go on the market and see that the lowest active comp is selling for 50,000, 45,000. And that's the lowest properties in the entire market. Maybe we can sell it for a little bit higher, especially today. Like instead of me selling it for 35,000 now, I'm gonna maybe put it on the market for 45,000. If I see the lowest available deal in the market is 50,000, I'm gonna price it just below that. Okay, so and I'm gonna do an example deal. We're gonna go on Redfin and just show you how we do this exactly. But this is very important. Double check your offer, right? Because again, you want to be the best deal available, and you don't want to go out there and try to market a property and waste all your time and energy, and then you can't sell it because you priced it too high, right? So double check your offer, and this is going to be able to help you determine, hey, instead of a $10,000 wholesale fee, maybe I can make a $19,000 wholesale fee because I'm still the best deal available, even if I sell it a little bit higher. Okay. So when you're talking to sellers and making offers, come prepared, come with the numbers, right? Come with your highest offer, come with your maximum allowable offer, come with your lead sheet, like all the information about the property. You can get a lot of information off the property assessor's website as well. If you go to Cook County, Illinois, Chicago, it's a cookcountyassessor.com, cookcountyassessor.com. I would come with like a repair checklist. Especially if you're going on an appointment looking at a property, you should come with some type of repair checklist, a notebook indicating all the repairs that it's gonna need. Bring contracts with you. If you're doing everything over the phone, what we do a lot too is like just like virtual walkthroughs with the owners where you can do like a Zoom call or a Facebook Live and just walk the property. And as you're walking the property with the owner, you can have the repair checklist with you and make sure you have the contract ready to be signed as well. So that's something that you should have prepared when you're talking to the owners. But I want to comp properties live. I'm just going to go into property that maybe we have now. So we're gonna get into Redfin, and I'm on Redfin more than I talk to my wife. So I mean, it's something that I'm on all day long. And if you're in this business and you're in the business for, you should be in this business to be making offers every day, and using tools like Redfin or the MLS is where you should be at analyzing deals all day long, okay? So we're gonna look at a property we just sold, and we're gonna analyze it. Let me share my screen. Okay, this property closed just recently. We made like a $10,000 wholesale fee. So we're gonna get into redfin.com, redfin.com, and we're going to comp this property here. So you just put the address in here. And what I like to do is get two tabs open at the same time, just so I can have a map up so I know where I'm at. And basically you can scroll down a little bit till you get to this little map area. And that's the thing with Redfin, is that they're always, and I noticed that today, they're always changing where the map nearby homes are. So it looks like they changed it again. So what we can do for now is usually there's a little map nearby homes symbol, and then we can quickly get all the properties that are nearby. But what we can do now is just look at the, usually it's going to give us the neighborhood. So this is, I know, the Washington Park area. You see Washington Park. So for now, I'm just going to type in Washington Park, Chicago, Illinois, and it's going to give me the neighborhood, and it's going to give me a little nice border around it. So it's a very small neighborhood, Washington Park. So I can say confidently that all these properties are within a mile or less from our subject property, because our property, this is why I have the second tab open, is just to get this map here to see where we're at. So we're a little bit south here, but yeah, so from busy street to busy street, so 63rd to 59, that's about half a mile. If you go from 59 to Garfield, that's about a mile. So in Chicago, it's from busy street to busy street is usually about 6 blocks, which is usually about a mile. I mean, a half a mile. So we know exactly about how far we should go. So what we're doing is we're looking at sold comps in the last 6 months. You know, we talked about this earlier and how to get the after rehab value. We're looking at just multi-families. And then we're looking at square footage, right? I said about 10 to 15% plus, and then everything under. So this property is about 3,100 square feet. So we can go at about maybe, you know, 3,300, somewhere around there. So we have to be at about, let's say, 4,000 and under, because it doesn't let me sort by lower increments. So here we are looking at the comps here. And we're going to sort by price. What you want to do is sort by price, and then Z to A means highest to lowest. So we have comps at 595, 590. So the property's around like right where my mouse is. So we're talking about 6 blocks. So yeah, all these properties are within a mile from the property, right? So 595, 590, 550. So it looks like the comps went even higher because we had an ARV at about even 400 on this deal. So these comps may be a little bit bigger square footage. So let's look at them. So I want to check. The first thing I'm going to check is square footage, because you know that I couldn't sort by so if we're at 3,100 square feet, if we multiply that by 15%, we're at 465. We're trying to get comps about around 3,500 under, maybe 3,600 and under. Try to stay within. But this one's 2,400 square feet. So this is a good comp. This one at 590, 7 bed, 5 bath. And then let's look at the photos. Because like I told you guys, you're going to rehab your property based upon what the comps are doing, right? So you when you're going to rehab your property as a fix and flipper, you're trying to make it look comparable to these comps here. So these comps are brand new everything, brand new floors, brand new kitchens, brand new bathrooms. Looks like the basement is finished. It has doesn't have a garage, but it has a nice concreted backyard. It has a parking slab, which is good. So here's our first comp. We're gonna leave that one up. We're gonna leave that one up here. I'm gonna open a tab for it. Let's go to our second comp. So these must have sold pretty recently, because I don't think these comps were here. Otherwise, I would have my ARV a lot higher when I tried to wholesale it, right? So let's look at the pictures here for this comp. Same thing. You can see it's brand new rehab, brand new kitchens, bathrooms. We got no garage. So if we don't have a garage, maybe we don't have to build one, because the comps don't have a garage, right? And then, you know, things to look out for, what, the basement. I talked about the basement, right? So does this have a finished basement? No, it's unfinished. So this comp is a unfinished basement, and it doesn't have a garage. So those are 2 things we want to jot down and remember that. Let's go back to the other property. Is the basement finished here? I saw the pictures on this one. So yeah, the basement was finished. So you can see, if we go to property details, you can see basement finished right here. So let's go to the next property. We have about 550 comp. And again, we need to, did I check the square footage on this? Yeah, 2520. This one may be a little bit too big. Let's see what the square footage is. If you just click public facts, and it's going to take you down to the square feet. This one doesn't have the data of square footage, but this is probably should tell you how many units. This is a 6-unit building. So I know my property is only a 2-unit building that could be a 3-unit building. So this is not a good comp. I'm not going to use this one because it's a 6 units. The public records didn't have the data on square footage. So I'm going to get rid of that comp. I'm not going to use that, because our property is a 9-bedroom, 2-bathroom. And we know that we can finish the basement and make it like maybe 11 beds and 3 baths, something like that. So we know we can add a couple bedrooms, we can add a bathroom. So here's a 9-bedroom, 6-bathroom. But what I'm looking here is this kind of looks like it could be a newer building, just because of how it looks. So I'm right here. So it's built in 2010. So this is something you guys need to look out for too, is the year built. I can't take a 2010 property and comp it with my property, because my property is built in 1907. Okay, so I'm not going to use this comp because it's built in only 12 years ago, right? So everything's pretty brand new. So you don't want to use brand new buildings and compare them with buildings built like 100 years ago, okay? Because these new construction buildings are going to sell for a lot higher. So this is the third comp, 450. We can most likely use this one. And we can see the, let's look at the square footage on this, see what it is. Make sure it's not too big. So this is 2388. So we can use this one. We can look at the pictures here. Brand. Sorry, my screen stopped sharing. So we can see that everything is pretty modern. The basement's finished here. And maybe it has a garage or not. We're checking here. Doesn't look like it has a garage. So that's one thing you got to note is the 3 highest comps, 450, 595, 570. No, that's not the actual number. 590, 595, and this third one here at 450. So we're gonna jot those down. You know, you're gonna take 595. I like to get 4 comps usually. So you take these 3, you divide it by 3, you get the ARV 545. But what I like to do is get 4. So I'm gonna find the next one at 417. So you wanna note that down, is that none of these comps have a garage, so there's no garage in any of them. So you don't have to, you know, build at your garage yourself on your property, because the comps that we found, none of them have a garage, right? So this one looks like it needs some work, and it's sold for 417. It's not, well, it's in good shape. It's just not modern or brand new everything here. It looks like it's in good shape. There's no garage again, so we don't have to build a garage. So that saves us $15,000 to $20,000, guys. So that's something you gotta look out for. Like if your offer comes at, you know, $100,000 and the owner wants 120, but you factored in a garage because it didn't have one, but you didn't take the time to look at the comps to see if they had a garage or not. Guess what? You could have got that deal under contract instead of passing on it, right? So that's just something that you need to look out for, is garage, basements, right? So this property has an unfinished basement. It has a no garage. But let's look at the square footage, 3780. So this is too high, right? So I would say this one's a bit too high, but like I said, I wanted to stay under about 3560, 3600 and under. But this one is just a tad bit above where I want to be, right? But let's just use, you know, for time's sake, let's just use these 4 comps here that we found. So again, we're at 595 plus 590 plus the one was 450, and the last one was 417. You divide that by 4, we have ARV of 513,000. So the comps, the ARV went pretty hot, a lot higher with, looks like some new comps sold in this market. So ARV is 513,000, which is, that's the ARV. That's what we had to get in the beginning, right? So we're gonna go and look at the pictures of our property that we have under contract. And then we're gonna go and just try to determine, is this a total gut rehab? Is this a cosmetic? Is this a, what kind of condition is this property in, right? So I'm not gonna click on every single picture, but you can see it's not in bad shape. This is more so of a cosmetic rehab. It really, you can see it has radiators, so it needs some, you need central heat and air. But this is property is not in not a gut rehab at all. A cosmetic rehab on the above ground square footage, and then below ground square footage. We saw out of the 4 comps, 3 of them have a finished basement, right? And then 1 of them didn't. So we have to finish our basement here. So it's mandatory because 3 of them had a finished basement. So we have to figure out what's the square footage of the basement. So we add that into our rehab costs, right? So what we're gonna do here is, I should get my notepad out so you guys can see this a little bit better. Let me see if I can. So rehab costs on this. So there's 3,100 square feet that's in cosmetic condition, right? So that's $20 a square foot. So we got 3,100 times 20, right? And we need to figure out what's the square footage of the basement. So we need to figure out what the square footage of the basement is. So how do we do that? So if we just look at the property, you can go to Redfin, go to Street View, or just look at the pictures of the house, right? So we know that above ground is 3,100 square feet. So if above ground is 3,100 square feet, so the 2 units are about 1,550 square feet. And if the basement, if it's a full basement, usually it's the same size, right? So we can see, look at level 1, level 2, and the basement, it's about the same size. So it's about 1,550 square feet for the basement. So we're gonna have to multiply that as well. So we're gonna have to add 1,550. I don't have my mouse, so I'm trying to use my finger, times 30, right? Because it's a total rehab for the interior. So we determined that this house is, the outside is good shape. It doesn't need much work on the outside, but the interior on the above ground needs a cosmetic rehab. So 62,000 here on the above ground square footage. That's the rehab cost. And then the below ground square footage, we're taking 1,550 times 30, which is 46,500. So we're at 46.5 here. So total rehab costs of, if we just add these 2 numbers, 62,000 plus 46,500, we're at a total rehab cost of 108,500. So this is a total rehab cost for this property. We have to finish the basement. We're not adding 15 to 20 grand to add a garage because all the comps didn't have a garage. So 108,500. So going back to the formula, we were at 513, right? So you're gonna multiply the ARV is 513,000. You're gonna multiply that by 75%, right? So let me just use my calculator here. So we're at 384,000. Let's just go minus 108.5. So we're at 276,000. is the highest an investor would pay for this deal with these numbers. And so this is the number. This is the what do you call it? The maximum allowable offer, right? The maximum MAO, right? This is my MAO. Okay. So if I can get this deal for 250, I can make 26,000, right? If I get it for 200,000, I can make 76,000. So it's you want to know what the maximum allowable offer is, so that when you go into your negotiations with the owner, you know your spread, you know how far you can come up, and you always want to have the owner come up with their number first, right? Like, let's say they come up with 200,000. You don't have to negotiate at that point, right? You just go, hey, let's sign the contract, let's move forward. I'll sign it up for 200,000, and let's tie the deal up, right? So that's how we comp a property live. And again, you guys that are members that have the CRM, this formula is built in the CRM. So you just really need to get the comps, plug them in, get the condition, plug it in, get the square feet of the basement and above ground and plug it in, and it comes up with the formula. But for you guys that we have a spreadsheet deal analyzer, which I'm going to just share with you guys if you guys need help, making the correct offer. I can share that with you guys. You just have to reach out to me directly, and I can email it to you. So reach out to me via, I gave you my number, or you can DM me on Facebook, or you can reach out via text or email. But here's what's cool of this spreadsheet's pretty cool that you can use. So, you get your property, you plug in the address, maybe the link on Redfin. You got to plug in the square footage here of the property, whatever the square footage is. And then once you get your 3 or 4 comps, you want to plug them in here. So let's say 385, 360, 47. Let's say these 4 are your 4 highest comps that you found, showing you how we did it today. So it's going to give you the ARV right here at 380. So you can see if I change this, you see the ARV changed, went to 395. So if I change these comps at all, you're going to see the ARV change. And it also has information, is it on a busy street? Is it next to train tracks? If you say yes, it's going to automatically take 20% off ARV. Same thing with basement. If your property has no basement, all the comps do. If you say yes, it's going to take 20% off. Of course, if your property has a basement and all the comps have basements, then you're just going to leave it as no, so it doesn't take that off. And some neighborhoods were a little, so right now we're at 75% in pretty much all neighborhoods because it's just a super hot market. But sometimes, when the market starts coming back down, we say, hey, if it's in a rough area, our percentages are lower. It might be 70%. We used to do like 65%, even 60% back in the day of the ARV. But here you can change that. And then here as well as the condition. So you're going to see that if it's a gut rehab, cosmetic, great shape, it's going to change the rehab amount here. And it's going to subtract that out, and you're going to get the, you're going to add your wholesale fee in here. So you put the condition of the house, you're going to get the after rehab value, and then you're going to add your wholesale fee in here. That's going to come up with your maximum allowable offer for you. Okay, so this is a free for everyone. If you want it, just giving it away for free. My VA actually created this, and it's pretty cool that we can just give it away for free to help you out make the correct offer. Okay. So that's how to always, so one last thing I didn't even do is I didn't double check the offer, right? So sometimes sometimes I forget to double check the offer. So what does that mean? Yes, follow the formula. Yes, go and, do the 75% of ARV minus rehab costs. But the second thing you have to do, which I totally didn't do, is check everything active on the market, right? Like what's on the market active. So I'm gonna look at everything active, similar, if it's a multifamily, check multis, house, check house. And then what I do too when I'm checking active is I take off square footage, because what if a bigger property is selling for cheaper? So I take that off. And then instead of, what I do is I look at everything from lowest to highest. Okay, and the reason I'm doing this is when I go and sell my house for, I get under contract for, let's say I get under contract for 250 and I'm gonna sell it for 270. I wanna make sure I'm the best deal available, right? So I know this is a brick, like a brick 2-unit, and I know bricks sell a lot more than frames in this area. So this frame comp, I don't really care too much about it because it's not similar to mine, because it's a frame and not a brick. So the next, in this neighborhood, the next active comp that is out there that's active that an investor could buy is 435. So what that tells me is, hey, this is a great area. I mean, there's no available brick 2-unit that is selling for under 435. So if I get this deal under contract for 250, I can definitely sell it for maybe 260, 270 all day, right? But if you see, what if this frame property was brick? Let's say this was brick, right? Let's say I'm about to tie this deal up for 250, right? And I see on the market a similar comp that's active that anyone could buy today for 240, and let's say it's the same size, property as mine. Guess what? My offer is not going to be lower because I want to be the best deal available. So I might, instead of offering 250, I might go down as low as 225, and then try to sell this thing for 235. And now I'm selling for 235. I'm the best deal available, right? So if you went and got this property, again, assuming that this frame is a brick, if you went and got this property under contract for 250 and try to sell it for 275, 280, the investors in that market are going to look at you and say, hey, I can just buy this one for 240. Why am I going to buy yours $30,000 higher? It's a brick, mine's a brick. Maybe it's the same condition, right? Yeah, it's about cosmetic rehab here. So that's how you double check, right? You want to see that, if I tie this up for 250 and I'm about to sell this for 270, am I the best deal available, right? So double check your offer. And sometimes I forget to do this because I'm just so into looking at the comps. But this is something that I believe that you should do for every single offer you make, is just double check first. And make sure that you're, if you do get under contract, that you're the best deal available on the market. Okay. So if anyone has any questions about comping properties, let me know. Let's see. Even if the first floor square foot is a different amount. I don't know. I'm not sure what your question you're referencing there, Linda, but if you want to elaborate on that. You say even if the first floor square footage is a different amount, maybe you're talking about the basement. Most owners are never going to know the basement square footage, because I'm telling you, like, I don't even know off the top of my head a lot of the properties I have, the basement square footage. But if you just look at it, if you know that it's 1,100 square feet, and there's 2 levels, and they're the same, they're the same size. So you just divide that by 2. You just divide, because the basement is going to be the same size as one of the levels, because there's 3 levels. The basement's full and finished. So if I take 3,100 divided by 2, I'm at 1,550. So I know the basement is gonna be 1550 because, they're all the same, they're all, the same size here, right? So to get that basement square footage, just, if this is a one-story house, it's very simple. If it's a one-story house, above ground square footage is 1,000 square feet and has a full basement, then the basement most likely has 1,000 square feet, right? Redfin is not in every state, so Redfin is not in every state. If you don't have Redfin in your state, try Zillow. But the best thing is MLS access, if you can get MLS access in your state. But Zillow is actually, the data on Zillow is actually not bad. Let's go Zillow really quick, just for people that don't have it. Let's look at the same zip code. So Zillow, you can do the same thing. You can put in maybe the zip code, or I don't think it does it. It's not gonna let you do like we did in Redfin. Yeah, maybe. Let's see. So Washington Park, Chicago. So it does, yeah. So it does the same thing. I actually didn't know that Zillow does that because I don't really use Zillow too much. So look at sold. Go in the neighborhood and get your border. You want to turn any filters off here, and you want to search multifamily or whatever your property is, and then you can go here, sold in the last 6 months, and then boom, you have all the comps. So it's not giving me the same data. So you can see that, Redfin is going to be, oh, I didn't filter by square footage. So square feet, let's do 4,000 and under. So it's missing a couple properties at 590. So there's a 450 comp that we got. So Redfin's good because it updates automatically as soon as the property is sold. It's all of a sudden out there. But if you don't have Redfin in your neighborhood, the next best thing is Zillow. If you don't have MLS access, okay. But that's how we double check the property. Always double check your offer, double checking that you're making the correct offer, okay. And if you guys have any other questions, let me know. If you guys want access to the wholesale deal spreadsheet, just contact and I'll send it to you. And I just want to get into Proverbs chapter 24. And I believe if you don't have God in your business, the wisdom of God in your business, that you're not, it's using the wisdom of God in your business can accelerate your success, I believe, 100-fold, 1,000-fold. So use the wisdom of God in your business, especially in Proverbs. Proverbs is a book of wisdom that you can use in your business today, that you can, after I studied Proverbs, there's a lot of things in my business. Like after I read the full book of Proverbs for like the first time, there was just so many things that I was doing incorrectly that I needed to correct. Right. So Proverbs chapter 24 says, do not envy the wicked, do not desire their company. For their hearts plot violence, their lips talk about making trouble. In the parentheses is things that I just added, right? So look at everyone around you. Is anyone leading you down the wrong path? You got to remove them. Right. So a lot of times I was just like, for me, I was hanging around with the wrong people that were okay with, stealing, that were okay with cheating people out of money just for their own gain, right? I had to remove those people out of my business, out of partnerships, and it's like, that's what Proverbs is telling you. remove people that are not following his ways, as far as like business partners, maybe a relationship you have, right? So by wisdom, a house is built, and through understanding, it is established. Through knowledge, its rooms are filled with rare and beautiful treasures. So it's saying God's wisdom will bring prosperity, doing everything on the foundation of God's wisdom. So sometimes we have very critical, situations in our business where we have to make a decision, right? Okay, do I just let this deal go because like some other investor got the contract before me, or am I going to fight this? Am I going to fight this and file lawsuits and whatnot, right? So there are a lot of decisions like that in our business, and I think that going to especially the book of Proverbs and getting these questions answered, like, hey, it tells us what to do, right? So God's wisdom will bring prosperity, doing everything built on His foundation, even though it may not look like, hey, I'm not prospering with this decision. I'm going to lose 20 grand if I let this deal go. But at the end of the day, if you do the right thing, you're going to prosper. Like I had a deal where I didn't make any money on the deal. I just basically connected the buyer with the other wholesaler. I'm like, hey, listen, the seller got all their stuff out of the property. We need to just get this deal closed for the seller. So I'm like, hey, I don't need to make any money on this. The spread's too small. So just connect them with the buyer and help the seller out, because we've been marketing this thing for like 4 weeks. We have no buyer. Let's just get the deal done and help the seller out, even though we didn't make anything, right? So just doing the right thing, and helping people out, right? The wise prevail through great power, and those who have knowledge muster their strength. Surely you need guidance to wage war, and victory is won through many advisors. So before going to battle, seek wise counsel, and battle not just meaning like you're actually going to physical war, but going into war, also like in our business, like when we're doing marketing, right? It kind of feels like you're going into war, right? Like you have sellers just cursing you out every day, and buyers you're battling with. So I mean, it's in our business too. We need to seek wise counsel, right? We need to make sure that, hey, is what I'm doing in my marketing, is God okay with it? Is what I'm doing, how I'm selling properties, is God okay with it, right? Like a lot of people do marketing. For example, just one guy was like, hey man, I'm getting tons of leads, and you got to try this, right? And what he's doing is like, I don't agree with. He's sending like a one of those termination letters that it looks like your ComEd it looks like your electric's about to get cut off, and it looks like, hey, this is gonna. He has a big like bold like termination thing on the top of it, and he's like, yeah, I'm getting tons of leads from it, and I think it's not. I think it's not using God's wisdom to do that in your business. So I just told him, no, I don't want to scare sellers like that and do something like that, which I think is not really ethical. Wisdom is too high for fools, and assembly at the gate. They must not open their mouths. Whoever plots evil will be known as a schemer, and the schemes of folly are sin. And people detest a mocker. So what is plotting evil? Usually comes from selfishness, right? Revenge, selfishness. So I think like all of our problems is we're always just thinking about ourselves. Like it says in the Bible that we're always at war with our flesh. So I think like the things that sometimes we do things that are not right because of well, I would say all the time is because of selfishness, is because of me. Like, what about me? What about me? Right? And we should always be thinking the opposite. What about the people involved? Right? What about the seller involved? What about the buyer involved? What about the tenants involved? We should always be thinking not of ourselves, but of the others around us. Is this a win-win situation for everyone, right? So last slide here. If you falter in a time of trouble, how small is your strength? Put your trust in God, not in this world, and you're going to get through tough times. So put your trust, like, of course, if you're getting if you're not following God's ways in your life, and a lot of things are not going right because you're not following God's ways, guess what? God is trying to correct you. He's trying to discipline you so you come to him and follow him, right? So if you're struggling, if you're maybe you're in the business, you're you're struggling for money, and you got to do this thing, or you got to get rid of this problem that you have, and you could just keep falling into it. A lot of times God is just trying to correct you until you pass that test so that he can bless you, right? But then there are a lot of times where we are obeying God and we are obeying his ways, and we just have to trust that what's going on in our time of trouble, that it's going to be better at the end, right? Like when I went through my time of trouble where I was going through a divorce, people all around me were stealing money. I lost millions of dollars. At the same time, I went through so many different things. In my time of trouble, I look back now today and I'm just like, man, like I would not be as close to God as I am today without that trouble, without all the trials, the trouble, that without all the problems that I went through, right? So a lot of times, God is just making us go through these problems so that he can strip away everything and just like say, hey, come to me, just come to me, trust in me, trust my ways are better than your ways, and you're not gonna have to worry anymore, right? And he just wants to give you that peace, his peace, where no matter what happens around you, you're in a state of mind of, you're trusting him and you're in peace. And no matter what happens, like with me, I know, like I've been through so much that no matter what happens, I know that, hey, I've been through worse than this, so I can get through it. If rescue those being led away to death, hold back those staggering towards slaughter. So Proverbs is telling us, bring people to God, rescue them. If you have the cure to cancer, would you not open your mouth, right? Like if you know that, hey, your family member is not following God's ways, like let's say that you had a family member that's sick and they had cancer, you have the cure in your pocket and you can just give it to them. It's kind of like that, not sharing God with your family, with your friends, with everyone around you, right? Like we have to share his wisdom, share his knowledge. That's why I do it in my business. I'm like, man, if I could just save 2, 3, 4, 5 people, man, and I can change their lives, and hopefully they'll change their families' lives, their children's lives. I mean, I think hopefully at the end of the day, God will say, thank you, my good and pleasing servant. You did my work, right? So if you say, but we do nothing about this, does not he who weighs the heart perceive it? Does not he who guards your life know it? Will he not repay everyone according to what they have done? So God sees everything, and we need to obey even when no one's looking, even in the time where no one's around, no one's looking, we need to be obedient to him. He says he sees everything, right? Will he not repay everyone according to what they have done? So we have to look at everything we're doing. Are we sowing bad seeds? Are we sowing bad seeds all day long, or are we sowing good seeds, right? There's seeds that we're sowing every day with what we say, our actions, and what we do, everything we do all day. And it's either, we're sowing bad seeds, where in the future we're going to reap problems, or we're sowing good seeds where in the future we're going to reap blessings, right? So we always have to see, like, hey, did what I just say to that person tear him down? If I did, that's a bad seed you just sowed, right? Like you just responded to someone in anger, and you belittled him. Then all of a sudden, guess what's going to happen in the future? Those seeds are going to come back, and problems come into your life. And that's what happened to me, like, too. Is it's like, man, I just sowed so many bad seeds, and it just all came out at the same time. Eat honey, my son, for it is good. Honey from the comb is sweet to your taste. Know all that wisdom is like honey for you. If you find it, there's a future hope for you, and your hope will not be cut off. So know also that wisdom is like honey for you. If you find it, there is a future hope for you, and your hope will not be cut off. So no matter what you're going through, if if you put your trust in God and you start obeying him and you just, surrender, pretty much just it's surrender, right? Surrender our hearts, surrender our minds to him. No matter where you're at, what you've done in your past, we can all change that today, right? We can all just uh, change it from like Jesus' first words when when he started preaching was repent. Repent means change the way you're thinking, change your thoughts, change the way. Repent means change the way you think. He said, "For the kingdom of God is here." Those were his very first words. So he's saying, change the way you're thinking right now, and take your mind and turn 360 and turn towards the way of the kingdom, right? His thinking, the way that he thinks, right? And what is the way that he thinks? The way that he thinks is in the Bible, right? It tells us how he thinks. The Proverbs tells us how he thinks. The Gospels tells us how he thinks. It's throughout the whole Bible, right? Do not lurk like a thief near the house of the righteous. Do not plunder their dwelling place. For though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again, but the wicked stumble when calamity. I lost my screen there. So let me repeat that. Do not lurk like a thief near the house of the righteous. Do not plunder their dwelling place. For though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again, but the wicked stumble when calamity strikes. So, guys, God's promising us here that every time we fall, we're going to get back up. Every time we fall, we're going to get back up. And every time we fall, especially in this business, we're going to fail. Like I failed I don't know, thousands of times in this business. And it wasn't through failure that I learned, right? So we have to fall. We're going to fall, we're going to fail, we're going to make mistakes, and we're going to get back up, right? Don't be like the wicked where it says if they fail, it's like, oh man, I can't do that, right? And they just give up. When calamity strikes, they fall and they never get back up, right? So we need to learn from our mistakes, keep getting back up. And every time we fail, every time we stumble, every time problems arise, we just get back up and rise again, right? Do not gloat when your enemy falls, when they stumble. Do not let your heart rejoice, or the Lord will see and disapprove and turn his wrath away from them. So instead of rejoicing when people fail and fall, we should pray for them. We should pray for our enemies. We should pray for our everyone that's attacking us. We should pray for everyone around us, right? Instead of we should never rejoice when someone goes through struggle, right? We should never rejoice, even though maybe someone did really bad things to you in your business or in your personal life. We should never have that heart. God says that we have to forgive, right? So if you have that in your heart where you want to see someone fail, you never forgave that person, and you need to get right with God and forgive, let that go, right? Instead, we need to pray for our enemies, pray for them, and pray for them to when they stumble, pray for that God comes into their heart, gives them his love and his peace and his joy, and just fills them, right? So that's it for we're gonna end here at Proverbs chapter 24. So next week we'll catch up with that. We're gonna end in prayer. Just want to thank God for all his blessings. So I hope today that you got you always make the right offer now. You should always be making the right offer after today's training. You should always know how to make the correct wholesale cash offer. So I just want to end in prayer. Just want to thank God for all his blessings, for giving us internet, Wi-Fi, computers, for everyone listening and for everyone learning. Just we pray that the wisdom from Proverbs goes deep down into our heart, into good soil, and just we just want to every day repent, every day change the way we think, every day change the way we think from our ways to your ways, Father. And we just thank you for all your blessings, all our family, our friends, our loved ones, all of our businesses, all the food that you provide every day, all the clothing you provide, all the housing you provide for us. And we just ask for your blessing over everyone's business, over everyone's finances, that we use your wisdom, especially from the book of Proverbs, especially from the Gospels when you spoke, Father. Use this wisdom when you speak to us. It's command. We're supposed to obey. It says, if you love me, you'll obey me. So we just want to be able to obey you in our business, in our personal life, and everything we do. And we just ask for favor and blessings over everyone's businesses that are listening. We ask for debt-free businesses that are prospering, that are increasing 30-fold, 60-fold, 100-fold in revenue every single year, every single month. And we just ask that in Jesus' name, not for ourselves, not for our selfish needs, but for others, so that we can be a blessing to everyone around us. We pray this not for, selfishly. We pray this that we can just be able to give to everyone around us that needs help. In Jesus' name we ask and we pray these things. And so I hope you guys see you if you guys can make it in Schaumburg, 6 p.m. Wednesday night. Hope you guys can make it to see some people live. I haven't been doing live meetings in a while, so hope you can make it in Schaumburg, 6 p.m. We're having a meeting, live meeting. I have the details in the beginning of the training, and I posted it in the Facebook group. So God bless. We'll see you. We'll see members tomorrow, 7 p.m. in the other Facebook groups, and we'll be here live next week, same time, Monday, 7 p.m. So God bless everyone. I'll see you guys next week.